Well, hello, everybody. Good afternoon if you are on the East Coast or in Europe, and good morning if you are like Dionne in California. I am Shannon Gregg, and I am so excited to be joining you today along with my very good friend Dionne Mischler. We are going to tell you some things that you can do right now today directly to get yourself ready for 2019, because we all know your quotas are not going down. That
Amen.
never happens. Dionne, why don't you introduce yourself, and then we are going to jump in and hit the ground running. Everybody who's
Absolutely.
joining us, you feel free to take notes, but we're going to send you this recording as soon as we get it so that you will be able to access all the things we're going to throw at you really quickly today.
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. I'm Dionne Mischler. Thank you for joining us today. I'm the founder of Inside Sales by Design, a sales consultancy. We tend to call ourselves the Inside Sales Whisperers at the end of the day. So super excited you're here. And like Shannon said, we're firm believers in just being proactive and, having a plan, but not being rigid about it, and just being able to be agile and stick and move when you need to. So with that, Shannon, let's jump in and get going. Everybody's got things to do today.
Fantastic. Awesome. So today we want to tell you a little bit about some of the things that you can do to get yourself ready for 2019. And we want to help you focus on how you can hit your 2019 quota. So we stuck this cartoon up there that says, we don't ask you to act illegally, but it's pretty much the only way you're going to reach quota. And that is how we've all felt sometimes, right? We don't get the training we need. We don't get the coaching we need. As leaders, we don't have the time that we want to spend with our teams to help them get ready so that they can attack that quota from day one. Because every day that goes on in the year that you aren't reaching your micro quotas based on your whole year broken down into months and weeks and days, it is really hard for you to catch up. So today, we're going to cover what the heck is enablement anyway, because so many people talk about it. So many people have different definitions. So Dionne and I have decided we have one, and we're going to apply it. That's going to help you understand today and also help you understand what's going to be going on for the rest of 2019. So you can just get out there and hit all of your quotas. And we're going to focus on 3 areas that will help you drive to success. These are the 3. These are the ones that we think are really going to help you. If you get ready for them right now, you and your team are going to make 2019 look like your golden year. So the first one is rep productivity. The second one is sales skills. And the third one is leadership. And we're approaching this in a way that is reflecting back on that old saying, a pound of cure versus an ounce of prevention. So if you're a Six Sigma shop, you'll have heard about this referred to as, being proactive or reactive. And Dionne and I really want to talk to you today about your pound of cure and your ounce of prevention.
Yep. So much easier.
Way easier. Way easier. So we came up with this definition of enablement, and you'll hear people talk about sales enablement, sales training, sales operations, as if those things are all sort of interchangeable. And we've had lots of conversations, and there are some fantastic people out there doing really great work on sales enablement. But the dictionary definition just says it's to provide with the means or opportunity, such as training that enables people to earn a living. And I say, it's how to do your job with efficiency and effectiveness, getting out there doing what you do best, which is selling, without all the rest of that garbage getting in your way. So we are going to talk today about how you can take that garbage and push it aside and be more proactive and thoughtful about how you or your team can lead themselves into 2019 by doing a few things right now that are going to affect you in those 3 particular areas. So it's time, Dionne. It's time for us to get going, huh?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
So the first one, rep productivity. So your current state, you might look like this guy over here. Either you're a leader who's got a bunch of sales representatives who just aren't as effective as they can be, just aren't spending the time on the things that you need them to do. You're asking them about their opportunities, and they're giving you these reports that just aren't showing that they're doing anything that they need to do in order to be productive. So they're frustrated. You're frustrated. Your team is frustrated. Your executive management or your board of directors are frustrated. People don't know where you're at or whether or not you're spending your time doing the most you can for revenue generation. There aren't enough calls. There aren't enough quality demos. Demos are coming at the wrong time. You're not setting enough meetings. You're spending way too much time in the tech stack. And I think everybody that knows me knows I love CRM, but I don't love CRM because I love playing around in it.
Right. The result.
That's not why. I love it because it can cut down on your data entry and it can cut down on the things that you're doing that aren't productive. And this is one that Dionne and I had a very long conversation about is what are the barriers? What are the barriers, right, Dionne?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Got to get rid of them, you guys. It's not anybody who puts together a CRM system without taking into account the user experience and all that good stuff. And, oh, we're just going to have our rep click through 100 different fields on an opportunity screen. You're asking for trouble. So, yes.
You are. And everybody's sitting there like, this poor guy, we've all been there. You might be there right now at this moment. So
Absolutely.
we want to tell you about your ounce of prevention. First of all, you need to retain your best people. So in order to do that, you need to listen to them. You have to spend time with them. You have to remain focused on the things that they need for you, especially right now. Our unemployment levels are so low, and finding and keeping good sales talent is really challenging. So how can we help do that using sales enablement? Improve your KPIs. Look at your KPIs to say, am I tracking the right things? Am I looking at the right things so that we can get more calls and more demos? Or am I tracking things just so I can provide metrics that aren't really giving us the value that we need to provide the sales experience that both our people and our prospects need? The next one is improved automation in your tech stack. Everyone's talking about it. Artificial intelligence and machine learning, it is here. It is here to stay. And there are still so many sales teams that we've been working with that we see are not taking advantage of automation. There are so many things that you can do that require just a little bit of development time that can take away that piece that is not value added for your sales team or your prospects. And then identify the barriers and work to remove them. So I wear two hats. One is I help to run a Salesforce consultancy called Cloud Adoption Solutions. I've got a great team there, and I'm a principal with a sales process consultancy that is called M Masters. And we see with our clients on both sides, the technology side and the consulting side, people have barriers and they're there. Your sales reps are vocal about it. These people are really good at communicating. That's why they're good at sales. So listen to them. Start to trend what's getting in their way. Is it always somebody in finance who doesn't approve different pricing schemes or net due financial requirements? Let's try to identify that and say, here's a barrier that's getting in the way of my sales team. Let me float it up and see how I can get that out of their way. Or is there a problem with operational delivery? Are we promising once you sign a contract, we'll have your new system implemented in 12 weeks, but we're seeing on average a delivery of 16 weeks? Find out what those barriers are and get them out of the way so that your salespeople can spend all of their time doing what they do best, what you're paying them for, which is selling.
Yep. And some of you right now might be going, oh my gosh, I have more barriers than I have time in my day. We're going to end our discussion today with some lessons on prioritization with that as well. So hold fast. Just start making your list. Don't try to bake the pie just yet, right? There's a little analogy and for our Thanksgiving heads up, right? Just gather your ducks first, right? Before you start figuring out how to make them swim.
I love it. Dionne's going to tell you a little bit about sales skills. And we know this guy too, huh?
Yeah. So I know everybody's on a camera right now, and I really hope you're not multitasking, but if you are, that's okay. Just I'm going to ask you to come back for a little bit. So how many of you have sat through sales training where you're like, oh my gosh, I would like to gouge somebody's eyes out? Not my own because I'm okay, but like this is a terrible training session and I'm not learning anything. And I've checked out 3 hours ago in the middle of an 8-hour training session. So here's the deal, everybody, is it's not, I think we should get out of this, the mode of sales training, right? I was just on a call earlier today with somebody who said, at their organization, they don't call it sales training. Training is for dogs. Education is for people. Ooh. So it was very interesting, right? And I can't say I disagree with him. So when we think about it, again, we think of, oh man, I got to provide sales training and everybody thinks big dollar signs and all this other stuff. But you know what? Your reps, if you say, hey, we're going to do sales training, this, what you're looking at, this picture, and I keep looking over here to my second monitor for the deck, is exactly what people do. And they go, it's going to be boring. It's not going to be relevant, right? So, you know, maybe you're an organization that's tied to a specific sales training methodology. That's fine. Get specific, right? So right now, a lot of organizations that we see, and I don't have numbers right now, so anecdotally, there are organizations that just aren't doing any training and they're not doing any coaching. And then they wonder, to what Shannon was saying is, we all know our numbers go up every year. It's just the way it goes. So the question is, as we think about this, is I encourage you to do a couple of things. One, get off the sales training bandwagon and get into a sales skills enhancement, whatever word you want to use, right? It's a sales skills enrichment. Again, whatever you're going to be comfortable with, whatever you're going to be able to say to your team with a straight face, quite frankly. At the end of the day, the goal right now is to have our teams be able to have a conversation. Plain and simple. So when we think about our ounce of prevention, right? I met with a company down in San Diego and they're trying to turn their proverbial ship around, right? The ounce of prevention right now is, just like Shannon was saying, is go talk to your team and go, all right, guys, if you are going to master one sales skill, and if you as the leader start changing your verbiage, so will your team. So if there's one particular sales skill or sales muscle that you would like to train up on, what is it? Is it getting past the gatekeeper? Is it opening the call? Is it how do you stay calm on a call? Is it mindset? What is it, right? So go to your team and make a list. And then instead of, going and buying this huge training package that's super generic, tailor it to your team, right? So I do this for organizations. We spend a lot of time on mindset. So I had feedback from a VP at a large organization. He goes, Dionne, I've never seen coaching the way you do it, because in essence, just like what Shannon is saying is, guys, for those of us that have been around the block and maybe helped build some of it, we've sat through a bunch of different sales training and they're all really good, right? Find the one that works for you. And so there's pieces of Sandler and there's pieces of Miller Hyman and there's pieces of this and there's pieces of that at the end of the day, right? So if your team needs objection handling, get after it, right? And figure out what that needs to look like in order for your team to be successful, number one. Number two, do coaching. Once you establish what good looks like in your organization, get that coaching in place, whether it's manager or leader to peer, peer to peer, and self-review, super important. Encourage your team to go out on their own, right? In the days of lynda.com and YouTube and everything else that's out there, make sure you do some accountability checking, because you don't want your team consuming stuff that isn't going to be in alignment with what you have going on. But man alive, get your team to take ownership too of their own sales skills. This is their career. This is not a job. A job is what you do when you're in high school. A career is what you do to earn a living, to build a life. So, and we want professionals. So as a professional, we want people to own their career. We want them to hone their skills. We want them to go to AISP chapter meetings. We want them reading books, encourage people to do the book club, right? There's 1,000 ideas out there that you can do as a leader and that your reps can do on their own to build out their sales skill repertoire at the end of the day. And then to what Shannon was saying is, this last piece is making your database decisions. So if you're doing your funnel management, basically, which hopefully everybody is, and you've got some conversion through the funnel metrics, if you say people are doing great with, closing, but they are really struggling with getting people on the phone, guess what training you should do, right? So don't just, I think I'm going to do whatever. Right? You want the feedback from your team, but you also need to take what they tell you and use the data you have at your fingertips to chart out your training path and progression through the year at the end of the day. So sales skills honing, whatever you want to call it, is not an option. So it's really, if I know it's not an option and I need to do it, for all of us here, what does it look like to maybe bridge that gap and put some of those pieces in place at the end of the day?
So true, Dionne. And, so many times we're faced with the idea that it's challenging for us to pull our people off of the phones and out of the field. And, you know, if I take everybody out for 3 days, that's 24 hours of sales that we're not making. But
Yeah.
I can tell you, I can guarantee you that solid training that is based on skills that are needed for your team, that you can pull from your qualitative interviews and from your quantitative information, from your win-loss data and your CRM, you spend that time, you spend that energy on them, and their sales skills are going to improve so much that you'll get those 24 hours back right away.
Absolutely. And so when we, on a side note, when we do training or coaching engagements at the end of the day, and whether, you know, we do it, or if you're on this call and going to do it your own, we'll do like a 9 to 2 session, right? Or if we end up going all day, we actually do the skill blocks, but then we have the team go and make actual live calls, and we have scorecards and all that good stuff. So it's not, we need to get out of the mindset that the sales training needs to be everybody locked in a room like it's classroom training, right? We are literally at the tail end of the second decade of the year 2000, right? So look, everybody's here online, right? So we need to get out of this mindset that classroom training is the only way that that people are gonna learn. So as you're kind of thinking about your team, as you're thinking about the different sales skills, do snack size training. This webinar is 30 minutes. So if you're going to do something like that and say, okay, we're going to go to AISP, or we're going to go somewhere else, and you're going to say, okay, well, we're going to do this 30-minute snack size trainings, right? Or snack size skill components that we're going to look at, and then say, you know what, for this week, all we're going to focus on is we're going to find a good webinar or something on YouTube that we like, as far as opening the call or getting past the gatekeeper, or whatever skill you're wanting to work on. Everybody watches that video, no more than 30 minutes, and that's the skill for 5 days or however many that everybody focuses on, right? It doesn't cost you a whole lot, and you don't have to put a lot of, you know, document creation into it. It can all be stand-up, it can all be verbal. So there's really a lot of ways out there that when we think about getting our team to a mastery level, that we can definitely do that in a fairly low barrier to entryway these days.
Great. So now Dionne is going to talk to you about sales leadership, and we are not only talking to sales leaders here. We're also talking to executive management team. We're talking to board of directors. We're talking to investors at early stage companies, people who are looking to make acquisitions. Sales leadership is something huge that you can start to address now for 2019. And Dionne, I know that this is one you love to talk about, so I'm so excited that you're going to be presenting this one.
Oh, thank you, Shannon. And please feel free to jump in, right? So I definitely don't have the market cornered on all of this. Nobody does, I think, at this point, right? It's a hodgepodge of really good experience and information. So you guys, the current state right now and what's going on is there's research out there that's talking about the tenure of a VP is fairly low. It's about the same as an SDR, and we all know what ramp times look like these days. So make sure if you're that VP or you're looking to hire a VP or become a VP, get your ducks in a row on that. And then I think too is, you know, before you take that role, or if you're the company in there, really have some good expectations. And man alive, expectations are key, right? So it's kind of like, you know, where you're going with your friends and you're like, hey, where should we go for dinner? I don't know. Where should we go for dinner? Well, what do you feel like eating? I don't know. What do you feel like eating? And it ends up being this really, really terrible, awful, ambiguous moment, right? So for those of you that, and Shannon knows this, when it comes to sales, detest ambiguity. There is absolutely no reason for it, quite frankly, zero. So ambiguity is for kids, right? And all that good stuff. So, and our vacation. So as a company, we really, really have to have some very clear expectations. Am I hiring a VP to come and help me build strategy and process and hire and be this executive level coach to my team? Or am I hiring a VP that I want in the trenches closing deals all day? Is this person a player coach? So, and then from those two pieces, really break it down as far as getting specific. It doesn't have to be granular. We're not talking micromanaging here. We're talking about, because if you're hiring somebody at a VP level, they have the experience to fill in the blanks. But man alive, you don't want to get 2, 3, 4 months into an 18-month tenure and not have some really clear expectations on that, because then you've got people that are untethered. And at the end of the day, everyone's going, well, wait, you didn't do what I wanted you to do. But as a leader, we didn't tell them what we wanted. So who's at fault there at the end of the day? So when we think about our ounce of prevention, it's really about, we want folks in our leadership seat that are coming ready to play chess and not checkers at the end of the day. Right? So if you're wanting somebody that's coming on board, if you're that VP right now and you might be in this situation where the expectations weren't clear, get an advisory team, have a mentor if you don't, get somebody on your side that you can be really, really honest with, somebody that you can just have no filter with, that's going to really help you find your true north on all of that. And then again, as part of your advisory team, are you out there learning and reading and staying up to date? Like Shannon was saying, there's so many new things out there. The rate of change right now is a little ridiculous and a lot overwhelming for everybody. So knowing that, what does it look like for you and your learning style to keep up, number one, and then jettison things or put them on the back burner if you don't need them. And then I encourage you, just keep reading, right? And reading and going to networking groups, and make sure you're still having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. Shannon and I have both talked to folks that, quite frankly, have said to us, I'm not interested in learning anything new. I have my process and my system and I'm good. So, wait, what? What? And if your system worked before, give me some examples, and why haven't you done it yet here, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? So now I'm going to temper that with, as a leader, we definitely all have our strengths and our superpowers, and we all have things that we know work. Triple down on that, as my friend Ralph Barcy says, right? The things that you need to fill the gaps in on are the areas where you may need to be agile and open to learning something new. So just keep that in mind. If you haven't read Carol Dweck's book, Mindset, I encourage you to do that. That's a really good one. And it talks about the growth mindset versus a fixed mindset.
Huge. Carol Dweck is one of my idols. I have read Mindset so many times, and everybody that I know knows how much I love this book. So get that right now. And it's important that we point out, when we're talking about sales leadership, we're also talking about individual sales professionals leading their own career. So if your company's not investing you, you invest in you. Decide what type of time and budget you want to set aside. And I'll tell you what, if you look at all the things you're spending money on, whether it's a latte at Starbucks on your way to an appointment, or if it's a manicure or pedicure, when you look at the amount of money and time that you're spending on your outward appearance, think about how you can divert some of that money to what's going on inside of you, and say, how can I spend some time making sure that I get better? Because knowing that you're doing the best you can now is fantastic, but you can't sit there. Otherwise you turn into Blockbuster or Kodak, and where are they at now? We have to constantly be innovating as sales professionals, because the way people buy continues to get more and more mature. So our buyers are researching our companies, us, our competitors, the way we price things. Information is so readily available, which is great for us when we're prospecting, but it's also working against us when people are looking to say, how can I come in on the offensive against the salesperson who's going to sell something to me? So spend the time, spend the money, get your personal advisory team or your own personal board of directors who are going to tell you, here are the places where you're amazing, leave that alone. Here are the holes you need to fill in. It's time for you to learn a little bit more about negotiation, overcoming objections, building rapport, whatever it is that you need. Find the people who are going to tell you, and invest in it.
Absolutely. And that's a really important, two really important things that Shannon said. You guys, there are leaders by title and there are leaders by deed, right? We were at my son's, he's just turned 7. We were at his end of year soccer pizza party, and one of his friends needed pizza. And my little guy took the pizza scooper and gave his friend pizza. My mother's heart melted. I was like, oh, he's thoughtful. I'm winning. I'm like halfway there, right? So at that moment, he was engaged in the leadership activity by seeing a need and filling it. So that's what a leader does, and that's who a leader is. So if you are a rep right now, right, and you don't have the title from a leadership perspective, that doesn't stop you from acting like a leader. And if you are a leader by title right now, hopefully one of the things that's near and dear to your heart is if you see a need, to fill it, right? To bridge that gap to what Shannon was saying. And then, I think the other piece is, just get after it and make sure you're investing in yourself at the end of the day, because some companies don't. And at the end of the day, there's something to be said for personal responsibility and our own accountability to ourselves, our own career, our loved ones, our friends, our family, right? So normally when we have our act together and we're doing the right things, we're in alignment. It reduces a lot of the friction in our lives. So I definitely encourage you, as you're thinking about sales leadership and what that means to you, is think about some of these things. Do you have that person or a couple people that, man, they're going to kind of give it to you straight, and you're okay going, man, I really think I screwed up, or I did this really well, or I need feedback, and you have people you can actually going to listen to at the end of the day. Yeah. Next step. So I promised you, as we were talking about when Shannon was that first piece, right? When we think about rep productivity, man, you were probably all going, there's 1,000 things I can think of right now. And every time I turn around, somebody wants something else on the opportunity screen in CRM, right? So gather all your data. Just spend, from now until the end of the year, make a list, right? Just make a list somewhere. My reps want this, or what are the things that would remove barriers? What are some of the sales skills that they would like to get better at? What are the things that I need to do as a leader, right? Some of those things. And then once you get them, ask your team, because salespeople ask for everything, right? And they should. So ask your team, right? So out of these 59 things that you've given me, what are the most important? Stack rank them for me. If you could have this, but not this, right? My kids get their birthday money and we go shopping and they go, I want all of this, right? I want the $300 dollhouse that we have nowhere to put, right? Okay, no. But these are the two things you can pick from, right? So which one would you want more? And I give them the choice. So that's the thing. If your reps are saying, I need less fields in CRM, or they would rather something else, have them stack rank those barriers to remove for you. Otherwise, from a leadership position, you have to know how much political capital you're going to be spending and where to truly fight the fight at the end of the day in order to win the bigger strategic battle at the end of the year. And so same thing, for yourself and the other components that we've talked about. You will not be able to do everything all at once. The laws of physics don't change. One thing can occupy one space at one time. It's just the way it is. But having a plan and putting it down on paper, publishing it to the team, publishing it to your bosses, publishing it to the organizations and the different departments you're trying to work with. Man, you guys, our world today is lacking this sense of leadership right now. And if you can be the one to step up and fill some of this gap, and we can present ourselves and have our act together somewhat, people are so willing to help. So at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're trying to make it go more quickly. So the more we can have our thoughts together, the more we can tiptoe through the tulips in a way that brings people along our journey, the better off we're going to be. So these are exercises. Nobody has oceans of time anymore. Take 15 minutes a day, right? And just stream of consciousness, write your stuff down, plot it out. 15 minutes a day. I guarantee you, if you do that between now and the end of November, and you start going back in December, you're going to go, this is actually a really good plan. Happy I did all this. It happens every time. So I encourage you to take these steps.
I love it. And, as a testimonial, I have attended trainings by Dionne several times at AASP conventions, and she does things like this, like the annual plan that she has up there. She forces that to happen during the middle of her trainings. And whenever you do that, boy, it tickles your brain and it makes you think. And so when we send these slides out, Dionne has actually invited you to download this, to use this annual plan. She's giving it to everybody, which is really great. Super, super nice. So definitely do that. In order to maintain our truncated format, Dionne and I'd like to make ourselves available to you for questions after this webinar is over for the dawn of eternity. So if you've got questions on inside sales, where to start, how to spin up a team, what's most important, call scripts, benchmarking efforts, KPIs, metrics, Dionne is fantastic at this. So many companies have trusted her, from startups all the way through enterprise. She is brilliant at it. She's beautiful at it. There's not a better person to do this than her. So there is her phone number and her email address. And she's also got some very cool resources and a new newsletter she's just launched. So you can surf on over to her website and sign yourself up for that. If you've got questions on sales process, technology, or automation to increase productivity, you can give me a call. There's my phone number, my email address, and I've got a free user adoption ebook at cloudadoption.solutions. So you can also surf over there. We're going very California for you today, Dionne.
Oh. Thank you.
Snowing in Pittsburgh, I'm going to pretend I'm over there with you on the left coast.
Absolutely. That's okay. The more the merrier. The more the merrier.
Oh, so thank you to everybody who joined us. We really appreciate you taking your time. Take these 3 tips and think right now how you can put them in place so that 2019 is going to be the best year you've ever had in sales.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shannon, so much. You are truly amazing. And everybody, if you've got questions on anything that Shannon was talking about, she is truly gifted in all of these areas. So you guys don't hesitate, get after it, write your plans, go from there, and then make it a great day and have a great weekend and upcoming Thanksgiving holiday.
Have a great day, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.